I recently saw Us like a while ago, and I wanted to make like this in-depth video about it because I just thought there was so much genius and so thought-provoking. Like, I wanted to make a video about like all the connections I saw, you know, the prison industrial complex and racism and rehabilitation and blah blah blah. But then I never got around to it because I have ADHD, and I started working on simpler videos because I really wanted to put my all into the Us video, like sort of movie review. I was going to rewatch it and everything. And before I could even make it, I see that Jordan Peele, along with a bunch of other celebrities, signed a letter to Biden praising him for how he's handled the conflict in Palestine. And before I get any further, I just want to say what Israel is doing is an ethnic cleansing. Free Palestine. Israel does not speak for all Jewish people. Jewish people are not a monolith. That would be like saying the NAACP speaks for all black people, and any remarks against them is racism against all black people. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I digress. I wanted to make like this in-depth video, but like I saw that he did that, and it honestly got me to thinking, because I really, like, ever since I saw Get Out, I thought Jordan Peele, hell, even before Get Out actually, like just seeing him on the Key and Peele show, I admired his writing, and Get Out really solidified that. And I've been a fan of his work, but especially since Get Out. And so when I saw Us finally, because you know it takes me a while to get to movies, I was so ready to make this like Jordan Peele is a genius, etc., etc. But it kind of broke my heart to see his stance on Israel and Gaza. Like, he didn't have to sign that letter, but also like his Jewish, who I'm pretty sure is Jewish, Chelsea Peretti, didn't sign it. I believe she's Jewish. And like, it broke my heart because it reminded me of Dave Chappelle in a way, that like these two people who seem to have such a grasp and in-depth understanding of social commentary to such a degree that I like looked up to them, and I wanted my content, my writing, to be even half as great as their ability to look at society and really peek into it and really show like the ugly aspects of it, but in an entertaining way. And I don't mean any of this in a way that's like, oh, like they're geniuses and their body of work is the greatest ever, blah blah blah, whatever. It's just disheartening to consider that, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like age, or like a certain amount of money or something like that, that at a certain point you stop truly examining the world and thinking you kind of understand everything and you're always right, you know? And sure, everybody makes mistakes, but like it worries me that like, and of course, like I'm not saying that like I'll reach a certain point of wealth. Of course, I don't think I'll ever be as rich as Jordan Peele or Dave Chappelle, of course, but like, is there a certain point in which you're no longer able to really examine society and see the cruel aspects, and you become cruel? Does that make sense? Like, at what point did Jordan Peele become cruel? At what point did Dave Chappelle become cruel, and they're no longer able to see their cruelness? It kind of reminds me of this quote: when education is not liberating, the dream of the oppressed is to become the oppressor. And what I mean by that, and why it reminds me, or why both of them remind me of that quote, I don't mean it in a way that's like neither of them are intelligent in any way. I mean, I don't know them personally, but I like from their bodies of work, I think they are, of course. But like, maybe it's, like I said, like at a certain point, once you accumulate a certain amount of wealth, or you hit a certain age, you stop wanting to learn and you think you know everything. And maybe they stop wanting to be educated about things that they don't understand, and like things just become like, oh, that's just young people BS. But I don't know, and I don't want to assume or make assumptions about either of them. And I don't know. And if you don't know what Dave Chappelle did, like obviously like his beliefs on trans people and how it's like very misguided and skewed, but also like spoke out against affordable housing in his neighborhood or his like town or whatever, or something like that. And it's just kind of like, at what point, it's like this, at a certain point, like for example, say like a rapper accumulates enough wealth, it's like, well, you can't really talk about being like hard in the streets and stuff like that anymore. Sure, you can talk about how you were poor, but like how much wealth, I guess, like can you really accumulate before it's like now you're just telling stories? Obviously, I don't know. It's kind of like that. It's like, at what point, how awful of a person can these people be? Like these people who are praised for like insight and thought-provoking ideas and beliefs. How terrible of a person? What is the threshold at which it's like, oh, maybe even you aren't 100% sure you believe the things that you're saying, or at least like it's shallow at a certain point. And I get it, like, you know, like don't look towards celebrities or famous people for like moral guidance, of course, but it's like, as someone who wants to be in that industry and like create things that they truly work hard on and believe in, at what point, I don't know, do I have to not believe in the things that I'm saying to make it for people to care? Do I have, like, what do I have to do to be able to do this full time, but also at the same time no longer stop caring about the things I'm talking about? Because I'll always care about things like Palestine and all the things I genuinely to my core believe in, like, you know, feminism and stuff like that. And I'll die before I give up not believing in those things. I don't know. Once again, I'm just rambling. But I don't know. What's the price for a soul nowadays, I guess, for morals? It also kind of reminds me of the Brittany broski stuff a little bit, about how she, like, oh, like no one wants to hear from Brittany broski, etc., etc. And for a minute I believe that, where it's like, oh, like who cares what Brittany broski thinks about Palestine and the thing, like, speaking up. But like at a certain point you have to recognize and understand that like you can't take any of this fame and money with you once you go. And honestly, the way the climate change and everything is going, no one's gonna, like, we might be all gone in like 10 years anyway. So you might as well believe in something genuinely, or you'll fall for anything. And I know obviously Brittany broski isn't like Jordan Peele or Dave Chappelle levels of famous, but like if for enough money you're willing to shill whatever you can for enough of a check, then at a certain point it's like, well, maybe use your platform for things you actually believe in. I don't know. Maybe a part of me wishes Jordan Peele and Dave Chappelle would actually just be quiet, instead of giving me false hope that like I can not wealthy, but like I can be financially stable and also keep my morals. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for listening.